Just taking a breath, settling into this moment. I just want you to lay one hand on your heart and one on the belly. And just notice your breath for a couple of seconds. You don't need to do anything with it. Just notice. And now I'm going to give you 5 seconds, little challenge. I'll give you 5 seconds to think of 3 things that you want right now. Just you. Starting now. Okay, how did you do? Do you have 3 things? Do you want a sandwich? Do you want to lie down? Do you want to go to the pub? Do you want to sit out in the garden because it's sunny? Do you want to fly out to Ibiza? What are those 3 things? How easy was it for you to access them? Could you access them? Could you access anything? If you could access one thing that you want just right now in this moment, you're doing all right. Zero shame or shade if you couldn't. I also want you to notice, was the 3 desires or the 1 or the 2 that you came up with, were they anything to do with anyone else's comfort or ease, or was it all about you? Because that's not quite what you want. You know, I want my children to be happy. I want my husband to get the promotion. I want my girlfriend to, get her nails done if that's what she wants. It needs to be about yourself. So that's a little litmus test that you can apply to yourself to see how in touch you are with your own system, I'm going to call it the cauldron of warming because that's my vernacular. And the cauldron of warming physically sits in the belly, the pelvic bowl, and the seat. So the lovely thing about the cauldron system is that we get physical representations of the metaphysical or the more esoteric ideas around the method. We get them by looking directly into these areas of our body. So what do we have down there? What do we have in the cauldron of warming physically? Well, we have our seat, so we have the thing that holds us up. We have our coccyx, the area that holds the rest of the spine, that holds your nervous system. We have our hips. How many of us have stiff or achy hips? That's a little sign or symbol that your cauldron of warming wants attention. We have our dispelling systems. We have the things that are meant to eject what is toxic or what isn't for us or what is waste out of our system. We also have our reproductive system, the place where we either house or take part in the act of the creation of life itself. So this cauldron is magnificent. It's also highly important to us. It's the basis. It's the container of our humanity. It's our container of life force in this life, in this existence. It's also how and where we access our desire. Now, yes, I am absolutely including sexual and physical desire in that phrase. But we also have these niggling ideals of life these desires that they feel too good for us. They feel too out there. They feel too distant from us. Now, we all have these. We all have these things that I would say the heart knows that it wants. The head gets glimpses and niggles, and it's mithered or bothered by them, bothered by these desires. We get flutters in the stomach when we think about them. Now, this can be a lost love. This can be a place. This can be that little Tuscan terraced house that you've always wanted in the old town. This can be, that desire to be a painter, even though you've worked in mortgage advice for the last 20 years. This can be that desire just to live in a caravan by the sea. But there everyone else lives in a red brick, semi-detached, in a suburb of Manchester. So they're things that don't make sense generally in the society you've been brought up in. They're things that don't remain within the confines of convention or conditioning. And yet they continue to plague the head. They continue to be there in some kind of form. And when you really get to thinking about them, or when you get to drifting off into a daydream about them, there is a bodily excitement. Now, these things are your cosmic-led desires. Any desire, the word desire comes from the French word, an old French word, meaning constellation or group of stars. So true desire, cosmic desire, is actually written in the stars for you. It's something that your soul knows that will accentuate the life lessons that it was meant to come in with, that it was meant to experience here in this life. It's part of its design plan. Now, you can quite cheerfully go through your life without tapping into these, but wow, does something happen when you do. You reach a level of satisfaction or attainment that you did not know was possible in a humdrum, So, why are we not all just bringing forth these desires? Why are we not living in this utopia where, that thing you wanted to do when you were 7, you just went and did it, and you didn't care what anyone thought, and it was all fine, and everyone was just out here living their soul-led lives? Because we have this conditioning and convention, it feels unsafe to us that we would go down these paths. And the reason it feels unsafe is because our own internal seat of safety, the cauldron of warming, we are taught to detach from being very young. We're shamed. Poo and wee are, made to be gross. The menstruation blood is something to hide and mask and be ashamed of. We're not supposed to touch ourselves. We're taught that from being young. Everything's got to be hidden and covered up, and we have this shame from this area. And then as we grow older, and also unfortunately as children, we have sexual trauma there, we have birthing trauma there, we have ancestral trauma there, and so we are throughout our lives detaching from the one area that can make these cosmic-led desires manifest. And I'm going to leave you with the analogy of creating life, because this is exactly how we create desire. When we create life, we take a desire or a thought that we would like to have a child. Then we need masculine and feminine to come together with the miraculous. Now, I say that with the miraculous because it's actually that your odds are well against you for conceiving at any one time. There has to be a whole thing happen that is miraculous for us to be born, to be conceived. When those three things come together in the cauldron of warming, word is made flesh. Desire is made manifest. So I just want to leave you with that analogy, and I would like very much for you to just observe what this conversation brought up for you. What was the cosmic-led desire or desires that crept in to the mind in this conversation? And I just want you to give them some grace. And I also would like you to just take away a little bit of the that could never happen and just see how that sits in the system today. Thank you.